You should just find the highest agency person possible for what you're trying to do inside your company. I have a question for you. How do you find high agency people right now when you guys are hiring? I just saw a clip from this podcast, which I actually really liked. It was Toby talking about this. And he's like, listen, I'm a high school dropout. The idea that I'm going to like ask for your credentials would be like completely ironic. And what the way Shopify does it is when they're interviewing, he's like, I want you to tell me your life story. And in your life story, if you're a high agency person, you're going to have examples of this thing, I ran into this blockade and this is what I did to get over it. And so they have high agency people reveal themselves through the telling of their life story. How do you do it?
There are two things that I'm generally looking for, right? One, I completely agree with Toby. I think you're trying to look for some evidence of a spike or some level of exceptional drive. I think that there are many people in certain fields that can be top 1% or 0.1% in some field, but most are not. And I think that if folks are, there's usually some evidence to some degree somewhere in the past that you can find. When I think about a couple of these things, I think about there's an engineer and actually a whole litany now, a whole community of people at Ramp who we found them because when they were 15 years old, they were playing like 80 hours, 100 hours a week just on Minecraft. And a few of them were known for building these private Minecraft servers that were so entertaining. Other kids would love to play it. One of them paid his way through college, hundreds of thousands of dollars by making something that was entertaining. Like he became like a small business person when he was quite literally very small. And it turns out he knew all the other, Minecraft developers. And you find these people he would have missed. Like I think that a lot of traditional ways of looking for employees would go and say, oh, they don't have a college degree, they aren't well-rounded in all these ways. But he has this incredible focus and drive. And if you talk to the other folks who were in the community at the time, people would say like he was incredibly obsessive, he was super detailed, and he was able to bend the API to do things that we didn't know it could do because he was so discerning. And I think you can often find people with incredible spikes. Sometimes it's through video games, sometimes it's through sports, who has the drive to go and be that good. It can be through grades. It can be by people who didn't have any of these credentials somehow are out there making and putting out incredible work. Like I think even, just about you, I think you just sat down one day a decade ago and you said like, I want to make incredible podcasts. And for years and years and years, you were working on this. And I just remember meeting a lot of folks who just kept talking about like, there's this guy making founders podcasts and it's really good. You look to it's all to say, I'm less interested in what is the resume. I'm far more interested in like proof of work. It can be an award. It can be something you built. It can be like a great work that you read and say, this is electric. And so often I think I'm really looking for signs of that. And you can find that, I think by searching of like, where is work? Where are people producing interesting, achievements, awards, bodies of work, and actually starting and looking for that. And so part of our hiring process is actually going and just trying to look for people who are very active on GitHub. We're trying to meet people who like were leaders in like different bizarre fringe communities. And it turns out too, like even if you have a really intensive interview process and you have like 10 rounds of interviews, right? And you interview someone for 15 hours, it turns out in 2 business days of working with someone, you're gonna have more information about working with that person. So we rely a lot on referrals. We try to find people who have maybe some asymmetric information about who someone actually is versus who they present to be. I think the next thing, which I specifically spend a lot of time looking for is, look, there's a lot of incredible things to work on in the world, right? I shouldn't be so arrogant to assume that people need to want to work for Ramp or whatever it is that we're working on. Or you can be working on making humanity multiplanetary. You can be working on artificial general intelligence. Why should I assume people should be interested in what we're doing? And I think a lot of that starts with asking, what is their actual motivation? I think in some sense, like you and I, like we only live our lives, right? Everyone in some sense is the hero of their own journey, of their own story, and try to spend a lot of time, forget even some of the capabilities, but like, what does someone want? Independent of what Ramp will do in 5, 10, 15 years. Where do they hope to be in 5, 10, 15 years? What drives them? What motivates them? Does that coincide? And can I see and understand how it could coincide or present how, me saying, actually, please spend years of your life working on this mission, and I'll try to convince you why it's worthwhile. If there isn't a clear sign of evidence of why they might want the same thing and how it can connect, like, don't worry about it. Don't waste your time. And so those are the 2 things that I spend a lot of time looking for when I'm interviewing people.